Hey friends, welcome back to Acre Homestead. We are doing some serious breakfast, lunch, food prep for this coming weekend. I have found that it really helps if I get some stuff prepped today's Thursday, so that I don't have to do any real cooking over the weekend. So let's get right into it. We're going to be doing a couple different breakfast items. Some of these breakfast items, most of it will get put in the freezer, so it's not going to be just for this weekend. It's going to be for, prep. If I'm in the kitchen, I might as well prep a little bit more than just for this weekend. And the first thing we're going to prep are some blueberry scones with our homegrown blueberries from last year, because I'm about to go pick tomorrow a ton of blueberries in the yard this year, and I want to make sure I start using up last year's blueberries. We're going to be in the kitchen for a little bit this morning, getting 2 different lunch side salads together and 3 different breakfast items and some brown butter chocolate chip cookies. So for the scones, I'm going to start with 2 cups of flour. I have my recipe right here. And then we're going to do a 1/2 cup of sugar, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and I did double check, it is baking powder. This is a 1/2, so we're going to do 5 of these. Teaspoon of cinnamon, so 2 of these. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to mix this all together. You want to mix your dry ingredients pretty well with scones, because once you put the wet ingredients, you don't want to do too much mixing. Now we're going to grate a 1/2 cup of butter, which is 1/2 of this big block of butter, into our dry mixture. This is very, very, very cold butter. I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to stir just this amount in the flour. That looks like about 1/2 of that stick. A little bit more for good measure. We're going to gently toss the butter in the flour mixture. 1 egg. I'm going to beat this egg so once it goes into the dry mixture, we don't have to mix too much. I'm going to put our egg into a bowl. I probably should have done this earlier, but that's okay. We're going to do a 1/2 cup of cream. I don't have cream, but I have 1/2 and 1/2, so we're going to use that instead. That should be fine. Vanilla. You want to mix this all together, so once you put it in there, you're not mixing too much. We're going to pour this over our dry mixture. We're going to add a heaping cup of blueberries from last year's garden. Now we're going to gently fold this together just until it's combined. I like to use frozen blueberries because it keeps the butter really nice and cold, but you can use fresh as well. So it might still feel a little bit dry and crumbly, but that's okay. What we're going to do next is we're going to put a piece of parchment paper down on a baking dish. We're just going to press all of this together. Once you have your dough in a ball shape, then what I do is I put a little bit of flour on the bottom of my parchment paper. And I'm just going to press this out with my hands to the thickness I want. Kind of working in the sides. Now, a lot of professional bakers can make blueberry scones without staining the whole thing blue. I've never been able to do that, and I don't mind the blue. So once we have the thickness we want of our scones, I like a little bit of a thicker scone. We're going to cut this into 8 scones. And we can put it right on our parchment. There we go. You can choose to put a glaze on these scones after they bake, like a powdered sugar glaze. I don't like frosting, so the way I like to finish my scones is by putting a egg wash on the top. This is just the leftover egg and cream mixture that we used. I might add a little bit more cream to it to make the scones. And we're just gonna brush that on the top. And then we're gonna use some of this, I think it's called turbinado sugar. It's the really coarse, unrefined sugar that's really beautiful. And we're gonna sprinkle this sugar right on top. It just adds a nice crunch and a nice finish to your. When you bake your scones, you have two options. You can bake them round like this where they're all touching and then they have softer edges, or you can separate them and bake them individually. I choose to keep them nice and round because I like those soft edges. That's just a personal choice. If you want them kind of more crispy and crunchy on the outside, then you would bake them separately. But this is the way that I prefer them, so this is the way I'm gonna bake them. We're gonna put our scones in the oven for 22 to 25 minutes. And then I'm putting a pot of water on to boil because one of the side, it's gonna be like for lunch slash maybe a side for dinner, just depending on how the weekend goes. We're gonna make a pasta salad out of cheese tortellini. So I wanna get the water boiling while we go ahead and make our breakfast cookies. I have never made breakfast cookies before. I will link this recipe down in the description box. It gives options to use dried cranberries, raisins, and then a couple different type of nuts. I think what we're gonna do is we're going to substitute those and maybe put chocolate chips instead of the dried cranberries or raisins because Josh won't enjoy those, and I think I'd rather have some chocolate chips in there as well. So we're gonna start off with bananas. These were frozen bananas that I thawed in the microwave. Then we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of honey. Vanilla. Peanut butter. This is my favorite kind of peanut butter. It's the kind where you crush or you kind of grind the peanuts at the grocery store. It's all the kind of peanut butter I used to buy, but I hadn't got it in a while, and I had to run to the store to get a couple of the ingredients for today, like the tortellini, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna get my favorite kind of peanut butter. So we're gonna put a cup of peanut butter in our mixer along with all the other ingredients, and that's why I think that mini chocolate chips would be good in this because there's peanut butter in it. And bananas, and peanut butter, bananas, and chocolate just go so well together. We're gonna mix those together. This recipe calls for quick oats, so that was another thing I had to run to the store to get. And I didn't look close enough at the recipe because it calls for 2 1/4 cups. I don't know if this is 2 1/4 cups. I did get out some regular oats just in case we need to supplement with regular oats. Oh, you know what, maybe I think we did it. And the last thing we're gonna add, you know what? I think I'm gonna leave this cinnamon out because we're gonna add the chocolate. Mix that together. Now I may have added a little extra banana, and it said that this dough is gonna be stiff, so I'm looking at this and it looks too runny to me. I'm not gonna be able to roll this out like a dough. You can see how kind of wet that batter is. So what I think I'm gonna do is we're gonna start with a 1/2 cup of regular oats, or old-fashioned oats. We'll mix that together. I added about an extra cup of oats, and that seems more like what we want. So now I'm gonna add the mini chocolate chips, so they'll go a little bit farther, and we'll mix those in. I'm just putting in a 1/2 cup. Before we roll out those cookies, I want to get these tortellinis in the oven because this water is boiling. It says to cook them for 7 minutes. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna turn the stove down just a little bit, and I'm gonna keep this wooden spoon in here to try to help prevent it from boiling over. We're gonna make a cold salad with this, so once we cook them, we're gonna cool them down. We have our breakfast cookie dough here, and it says a 1/4 cup for each cookie, and that they're not going to flatten. So you want to put them on your baking sheet and flatten them out a little bit. So I just have my scoop here, and I'm gonna make them nice and full. And it said you can put them close together. My pasta's boiling over. I was able to get them all to fit on one baking dish or baking sheet. The recipe also called for nuts in these breakfast cookies, but Josh is not a big fan of nuts. I would have enjoyed putting them in here, but because we're both gonna eat them and I want him to enjoy them, I just left them out. But you could put, it said pecans, walnuts, pistachios, kind of anything you wanted. So these are all done and they need to bake, but the oven needs to be at 325 degrees. We still have it set at 400 because the scones are in the oven and they have another 8 minutes. I just strained and put some cold water on our pasta so that that can cool down, it doesn't overcook. And now what I think I'm gonna do is prep the zucchini that I harvested out of the garden yesterday so that it can go in the 400-degree oven to roast. And then after that's done, I'll turn the temperature down and we'll add these cookies at 325 degrees. This is the first 2 humble zucchinis and yellow squash to come out of the garden, which means summer vegetables are going to be upon us very soon. Now I'm gonna roast these like I did when I made that orzo pasta salad because that was so good. And I want to use as much of my garden produce that comes out of the garden as possible. We have a bunch of herbs in the refrigerator too that I harvested yesterday to put into our pasta salad, which I'm really excited about. I let the scones cook for the longer amount of time, and I think they're done. They're nice and golden brown now. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to slide them onto this cooling rack so that I can reuse this cookie sheet for the zucchini. Oh, it smells so good. My plan is probably to freeze half of those, or maybe all but 2, and freeze most of those cookies as well, so that we can have kind of a combination of different breakfast items throughout this weekend and coming week. So this cookie sheet is hot, and that's totally fine with me. We're gonna get our zucchini on here. I'm gonna actually turn the oven up to 425 degrees. We're gonna put just a little bit of olive oil and some garlic salt. And then we're gonna mix that and throw this in the oven. So now we're gonna get going on the pasta salad and the cowboy caviar. It's just a black bean corn salad. And a lot of them have the same ingredients, or both of them have some of the same ingredients. So I'm gonna kind of make them simultaneously. So in our bowl, I just put 1 bag of corn in here. And in this bowl, I'm gonna put our cooked tortellini. Now I'm gonna dice a red onion. This red onion is going in both the salads. I'm gonna dice this very thinly. I think for the corn and bean salad, I'm gonna dice the onions. And then for the tortellini salad, we're gonna cut this super thinly. Then I'm gonna keep them in a little bit longer slices. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I think about 1/4 of an onion is probably good for this salad. And then I'm just gonna cut them like that. So they're long, skinny strips. And this is what we're gonna put into our tortellini salad. And I think that's enough onion, so we're gonna put this, wrap it up, and use it in something else later. Now for the tomatoes. Some of these tomatoes are homegrown tomatoes in here, which I'm super excited about, but I did have to go buy some tomatoes. For the tortellini salad, all I'm gonna do for the cherry tomatoes is cut them in half. So you have a nice big chunk of tomato. For the corn and bean salad, I'm going to dice these tomatoes. So one way to save time when you're in the kitchen is if you can come up with recipes that have some of the same ingredients, so you're not constantly pulling out different things. I still have all the ingredients out to make the cookies that I used for two of the other recipes we used today, like the salt and the vanilla, baking powder. These vegetables are similar that are going into both these salads, but they're going to have completely different flavor profiles when we're done with them. Now that we have all the tomatoes chopped, oh, I forgot one. That's one of the homegrown ones. We're going to get it into our bowl. I hope that all of our salad fits in this bowl. I might have to get a bigger bowl out for it. The next thing we're going to put in here are some avocados. I bought these a while ago, so I'm hoping they're still good. We will find out together. They feel pretty perfect. Oh, shoot. That one's bad. Darn. So these are going to go to the chickens, unfortunately. I didn't use them quite soon enough. And if you want to make this salad really excellent, add avocados to this, but I'm going to skip them today. I'm going to put 2 cans of drained and rinsed beans into our corn and bean salad. And then I got out the rest of the ingredients we need for these 2 salads. I have 1 bunch of parsley and cilantro. The parsley is going to go in the tortellini salad. I'm going to stick that amount in there. And then the rest of this I'm going to chop up together. And this is all going to go in the corn and bean salad. These are a bunch of basil that I harvested yesterday from the garden and some parsley. So I'm going to put this in the tortellini pasta. We have green onions. I'm going to use the greens and the whites. We're going to do half in one, half in the other. The cucumber is going to go into the tortellini salad. And I'm going to cut this into cubes. I have some red snacking peppers we're going to chop up for the corn and bean salad and jalapeno. I am going to de-seed and de-stem this jalapeno just so it's not quite so hot. Snacking peppers are going into this way overfilled bowl, so we're definitely going to have to get a different bowl for this. So the last 2 things we're going to prep for our salad, and this is both for the tortellini salad, is some hard salami. I'm going to just kind of quarter them. Actually, maybe I'll just cut them in half because they're kind of small. This is going to be a hearty salad that can be either a side for dinner or it's going to be plenty hearty enough to eat for lunch. It's got the veggies, the pasta, some salami, so we got some protein with the cheese. The cheese is going to add some nice protein as well. I didn't want to necessarily get the mozzarella balls that were marinated, but it's all they had at the store when I was there. I think I'm going to cut these mozzarella balls in half. I took the zucchini out of the oven, and that's cooled so we can put it in our salads. Our salads are done, we just need to make dressings for them. Now we're gonna stick our breakfast cookies in the oven. The oven is now down to 325, and it says those are gonna take about 25 to 30 minutes. So we have plenty of time to go ahead and finish up our salads. We have our salad, and I'm gonna add the roasted zucchini. I don't think I had the oven quite hot enough because I would have liked the zucchini to get a little bit browner. But that's okay, it's still gonna taste really, really good. In this little bowl, we're gonna make our dressing. I have a little bit of honey in there. We're gonna add some pepper flakes, some homegrown dried oregano, some homemade garlic powder. We just made this together the other day. Red wine vinegar. And olive oil. Homemade dressings are super easy to throw together. We're gonna mix that up. Oh, we need salt. I almost forgot salt. And pepper. It's definitely that time of year where you want these kind of lighter salads with all the yummy vegetables and everything. So we're gonna give our dressing a taste test. Oh, perfect. We made that perfect the first try. So let's go ahead and pour it on our salad. We'll start with half. We'll probably use the whole thing, but we can always add more. You're gonna see all these beautiful colors come out. I can already tell it needs all of it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just dress the rest of it. A salad like this is one of those salads that you can really make into whatever you want. You could add or take away anything. If you don't like tomatoes, leave them out. If you like artichoke hearts, put them in. If you don't like salami, you could use pepperoni. There's so many options. Instead of using mozzarella, you could use feta cheese. It's just whatever you have on hand and whatever you like. I am gonna give this a taste test. This salad I know is gonna taste better after it sits for a while and it gets really cold, but I kinda wanna just make sure we have enough pepper, salt, and a good balance of the vinegar and everything. Friends, oh my goodness. In about 3 weeks, or 2 weeks or so, my cucumbers, I was talking to Josh about cucumbers yesterday, and I said I had to go buy cucumbers for this salad, and he's like, why don't you go out in the garden and pick them? I'm like, because they're just flowers right now. But in just a matter of time, I can make this salad with all homegrown vegetables. I was just gifted these really cool bowls with these lids. So this is gonna go in the refrigerator, and this is gonna be a lifesaver this coming weekend for me. 1 down, 1 to go. So we need to get a bigger bowl for this because this is overflowing. This salad has a lot of the same ingredients, so I'm using the same bowl. We have some honey in here. We're gonna add some cumin, smoked paprika, oregano, red pepper flakes, garlic powder, a little bit more garlic powder, salt. This is where it deviates just a little bit. Instead of using vinegar for the acid element of our dressing, we're gonna use lemons. I have 4 lemons because these are not very big lemons. I'm gonna cut them in half. And we're gonna juice 4 lemons. This is a big salad. The last thing we're gonna add to our dressing is some olive oil. I just tasted this and it's so good. You could use lime juice instead of lemon juice. I like lemon juice better than lime juice. I think it's a little bit sweeter, and this has like a smoked chili, honey, lemony, delicious taste to it. It's so good. So we're gonna add that to our salad. We're gonna mix it up. This is only gonna get better and better as it sits. I do wish it had the avocado in it, but that's okay. It's still, I think, gonna taste pretty good, so let's give it a go. It's a winner. I'm gonna put a little bit more salt. But that is something you could eat as a dish on its own. This could be a side. This could be a salsa if you wanted it to. You could eat it with chips or with a fork, however you want to. Let's give it one more taste test. Now that I added a little bit more salt. Just got myself a new fork. As soon as that touched my tongue, I knew that was perfect. Oh, they're done. I may have overbaked them by just a couple minutes. These smell incredible. And in all of these breakfast cookies, there's only 1/4 cup of sugar. So they're mostly sweetened with the banana and then the little bit of chocolate chips that's in them. So I'm pretty excited because that peanut butter that I used in this had no sweetener. It was just peanuts crushed instantly when I put them in my container. So those are going to be really good. I think they're going to be really filling because they have a ton of protein in them from the peanut butter and from the, well, I don't think oats have too much protein, but good complex carbohydrate. So I'm happy about those. We're gonna let those continue to cool, and then I'll package up a couple of them in some airtight containers. The rest I'm gonna throw in the freezer. And now I think I have time to go ahead and make a few cookies. I think I wanna make some brown butter cookies. I was thinking that I was kind of going back and forth whether I should do that, but we haven't had cookies in a long time, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Plus I have all the ingredients out we need to make the cookies. I love making brown butter cookies because you don't have to have room temperature butter. Your butter can be cold. So I'm gonna put in 2 sticks or 1 cup of butter in here, and we're gonna brown our butter in this pot. While we're waiting for our butter to brown, we're gonna get our dry ingredients mixed in here. We're gonna start with 1.5 cups of flour. That's just white all-purpose flour. 1/4 teaspoon baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. My baking soda is a little bit clumpy, so I just put it in my hand, break it up a little bit. This is 1/4 teaspoon, that's why I used 4 of them. Oops, sorry, we're supposed to put 2.5 cups of flour. So I just added the rest of the flour and salt, and that's it for the dry ingredients. The butter is just starting to brown, so when it starts to get to this point, don't take your eyes off of it because it will burn really quickly. I just realized I am out of brown sugar, and we need brown sugar for these recipes. Our brown butter is done. I'm not worried about not having brown sugar. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I don't feel like making it because I can make it from scratch, but I'm just going to make it right in here. We need our butter to cool. That's why I'm transferring it to another bowl, just so that it'll cool faster. I love making these kind of cookies too because you don't have to use a mixer. This smells incredible. So now to this, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. And then for the brown sugar, all brown sugar is white sugar and molasses. So I'm gonna add 1.25 cup of white sugar, because that's going to be our brown sugar. And then we are going to add about 1 teaspoon of molasses. So I'm just going to pour it into this lid just so that I don't put too much. And that's going to be our brown sugar. Now we're going to mix this together. We're going to add our vanilla, our eggs. I want this sugar butter mixture to cool completely because I don't want to be in the kitchen all day. I'm going to stick this in the fridge for about 10 minutes while I clean up the rest of the kitchen, and then we'll do the final assembly on these cookies. While I am waiting for the butter mixture to cool, I want to make an Arnold Palmer concentrate for this weekend. I think that would be really good. Arnold Palmer is just half lemonade, half tea. So let me show you what I've gotten out here. For the lemonade part, I have about 1 cup of honey. We're going to use honey instead of sugar. We're going to make it half raspberry tea, half black tea. So I got my raspberry leaf tea out. We're going to make a concentrate because I don't have any half-gallon jars here, and I don't own a pitcher. So the only size containers I have to make this in are quarts. And so that's why we're going to make a concentrate. But I'm going to open up about 8 or so black tea bags. These tea bags are paper and they can be composted, along with when we're done using these tea bags, these will be composted as well. We're going to roll with the punches. I only have 2 lemons here but I have a whole bunch of lemon juice at the other house. So I'm gonna put my 2 fresh lemons in here, and then I'll just know that I need to put probably about a cup of lemon juice in here when we get up to the new house, because I'm gonna bring this concentrate up to the new house. It's gonna be a nice, refreshing beverage to have while we're working all weekend up there. This is gonna be our iced tea concentrate. I don't sweeten the iced tea because the lemonade will be plenty sweet enough. And then we're gonna add some raspberry leaves to our tea. That water is hot. So we're gonna let this steep while we now finish up our cookie dough. I did go ahead and add the water. I left enough room, so this is how much lemon juice we're gonna add when we get up there tomorrow. Our butter sugar mixture is nice and cooled at this point. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna add it to our flour mixture. Brown butter tastes kind of like butterscotch. It's so delicious. And now we're gonna add our chocolate chips. I just added 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And that is some of the best cookie dough you will ever eat. So good. Now I'm gonna scoop out my cookies, and I'm gonna do a heaping scoop. They're gonna be healthy sized cookies. These are the cookies I'm gonna bake today. I'm only gonna bake 6 because I think that's plenty. The rest of the cookie dough I'm gonna go ahead and scoop out, and I'm gonna put those in the freezer. These do need to chill a little bit longer before we put them in the oven. The oven's been off, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the oven preheating. I'm gonna stick these in the freezer just while the oven's preheating, and then we'll get those baking, and then we'll get these prepared to go into the freezer to bake on a different day. Is there anything more beautiful than cookie dough, especially brown butter chocolate chip cookie dough? I do want to try now to get this honey dissolved a little bit before I put this in the fridge, because it'll be a lot harder to dissolve once it's cold. To finish our concentrate, I'm gonna strain the tea. Now these are very concentrated. This obviously is not done. It still needs the lemon juice, but this is extremely concentrated. So I'll mix these together and I'll put water in it for when we actually make our Arnold Palmers. So delicious. These are going into the fridge right now. And then this is what we got done. We got the breakfast cookies and the scones. More than half of this is going to go in the freezer so we can enjoy over this week and next weekend. We have our cowboy caviar as a side salad. We have our tortellini pasta. This could be a lunch in and of itself because it's got the meat and the pasta and the veggies, or it can be a side with dinner. My plan for these is to thaw some of that meat that we marinated, probably just 1 package for me to grill up while I'm up at the new house this weekend. And basically, food is taken care of. I've been loving having these prep days before the weekend starts, because the weekends are kind of like work days for us right now. And if I can help ourselves by having food taken care of where I don't have to worry about cooking, then that's just been, it's been so nice. It's been so nice. So I'm gonna get these back in the fridge, and I will show you what the cookies look like when they come out of the oven. Friends, I may have forgot to set a timer. Oh, those look perfect. Oh my goodness, they smell so good. I think I'm gonna give them 1 more minute. You know, I don't know, I think I'm gonna take them out. This is what I like to do when I make cookies. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Uh-oh. I probably could have done 1 more minute because that's not all the way browned on the bottom, but that's okay. I would rather them be a little underdone than overdone. I'm gonna let them cool for probably 3 or 4 minutes on the hot baking sheet to finish the baking process. Then I'm gonna get them on a cooling rack. Last time I tried to make chocolate chip cookies on here, it was an epic fail. It was over almost a year ago now, and these turned out absolutely beautiful. I'm really excited for Josh to have one because I haven't made chocolate chip cookies since that time, and they were terrible. And these are gonna be really good. And I'm just really excited for this weekend. It's been so fun working together with Josh on the weekend. It's been busy. Tomorrow is actually Friday. I kept thinking tomorrow was Saturday. Tomorrow's Friday. So I'm gonna spend tomorrow out in the garden. I've gotta harvest all my garlic. The blueberries I think are ready. The raspberries are ready. And I need to do some cleanup out there. So I'm gonna get up really early before it gets too warm to do that. So I'm excited that I'll have, I won't be able to make an Arnold Palmer because I don't have enough lemon juice to finish it. But I'll have some nice iced tea in the meantime to enjoy out in the garden. If you guys enjoyed hanging out with me, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. I enjoyed hanging out with you. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend time with me in the kitchen. If you want to watch some more of my videos, I can put some more videos right here that you can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And don't forget, I will link the recipes down in the description box if you are interested in them. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.